So the Denver Broncos trailed 17-3 entering the fourth quarter, and they went on to score 18 unanswered points in a 21-17 comeback win over the Philadelphia Eagles. This was without question the biggest win of the Sean Payton era. Bo Nix went 9 of 10 passing for 126 passing yards in the fourth quarter with one touchdown pass and three scoring drives. Nix was absolutely clutch. J.K. Dobbins also stepped up. As you guys can see, he's going to fall into the end zone here on a 2-yard run. The kick is good by Lutz. And just like that, the Broncos are in a one-score game. This team hadn't played well offensively the entire game, but Knicks just got going. Cortland Sutton made a ton of good catches. Evan Ingram also stepped up big. Just look at this fake. Sutton hitting that back shoulder to where only he can get it. The accuracy is just on point. I thought this was Knicks' best throw of the season, in my opinion, given the moment, of course, which wasn't too big for him. I mean, just look where this ball ends up. So this is all about timing. It looks easy just watching the film, of course, sitting in my living room, but it's far from it. You have to throw this ball at the precise time for it to work out. And then to find Ingram here, who's able to evade a tackle from probably the best defensive interior player in the NFL, right here, of course, Jalen Carter breaks that and then dives in for the touchdown. So to this point, the Broncos are an extra point away from tying up the football game. But as Sean Payton said after the game, this team wasn't here to exactly tie the game. They were here to win it. And look what he ends up drawing up. So you've got a man in motion to the left side. It looks like a run. The defense kind of bites on it. And they're able to get Troy Franklin one-on-one to the outside against one of the weaker defensive pieces really on the Eagles. I believe that's Khalil Ringo, right? So here comes the fake. And of course, they've got him on an island. There's no help. And Franklin, with his speed, I mean, all he has to do is just get to the outside here. Nix is protected because Dobbins is blocking. So this, well, first of all, they're kind of worried about Dobbins leaking out, but he's not leaking out. He's just here to block. And everyone does a good job, man. They got, look at this. There's just no rush. When you have the best offensive line of football like the Broncos do, even a D-line as good as Philly, you're going to be able to contain it. And just look how this kind of plays out here. As Nix just on the move, gets a good angle, finds Franklin. It's a perfectly thrown ball. This is something that the Niners did back in the day with Jerry Rice, as they ran this same play, and it worked out. I mean, obviously it's Jerry Rice, but still, the Broncos kind of took that one out of the playbook. And this is just a lofting pass for another first down. The Broncos, they just moved the ball, like I said, at will. That's Adam Troutman for 11 yards. And then Cortland Sutton with a 16-yard catch. He just seems to be at his best in the fourth quarter. I mean, another just high point throw, go up and get it. Sutton has to jump up to secure this, and he comes down with it. Just an awesome catch. But Sutton was far from finished, as they're going to go right back to him here, as you guys can see. And this time he's going to create after the catch. So you guys can see Sutton is right here. You got Evan Ingram. There's just a lot of weapons. This is the difference between this year's Broncos team and last year's, and is that they have a playmaker at tight end. And here's Mike McGlinchey, by the way. He ended up returning from his injury, which is pretty cool. Definitely would love to have him out there. And Sutton, he just finds the soft spot of the zone. He catches it. I wonder if he kind of expected, he probably didn't expect to get hit because he's just reading the defense. He knows no one's there. Zach Bond is going with Ingram. He kind of finds this, he catches it, and he gets up the field, creates after the catch for 12 yards, moving the chains again. The Broncos are just trying to get into field goal range and a run clock. That way that they can put the Eagles in a tough spot. And this was a mistake on Philly's end, is you have an unnecessary roughness call. It looked like Zach Bond. I mean, this play is dead in the water. He's already wrapped up. You can see he's going down. They're going to blow this dead even if he doesn't go all the way down. I mean, what reason is there to just dive on him like that? It's just pretty inexcusable. So this play is kind of interesting because you've got Marvin Mims in motion, and he's going to come and sort of fake the handoff to Nix. The Broncos are putting this ball on the ground, or they're just going to take a sack. Like, it's basically one of those two. I mean, yeah, sure, if there's a touchdown, they'll take it, but they don't want to have the clock stop. So the Eagles, they do a good job. They don't really bite on this because they kind of know, hey, they're not going to run that. You guys can see. So the play is kind of dead, and they've got a double on Sutton over here. I mean, there's just nothing open. It's as simple as that. So what does Bo Nix do? He's going to take off and just get down. Puts his field goal kicker in a spot to where he feels comfortable. I don't have the footage from the actual kick because for some reason I pulled the one of the penalty. As you guys can see, the Eagles are going to jump early here. They're just trying to make a play. They didn't, thankfully, for us. But that's it, guys. That's literally what it came down to. Is this was the fourth quarter. At least the biggest play is RJ Harvey also had a good run in this one that I didn't include. So in Fast and the Furious, Dom Toretto says it don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning, and that's exactly what happened to the Broncos. Is the first three quarters it was non-existent offensively. They had just 3 points entering that fourth quarter, but they found a rhythm. They had the right tempo. They're moving a lot quicker. And Bo Nix, he's a young quarterback, but he's played the game for a while. It's usually the ones who don't have a lot of experience. You kind of want to get the tempo up and things like that. But Bo Nix benefited off of it as the Eagles just look lost. The Broncos, they called up a good game plan. Sean Payton deserves a lot of credit. They were going up against Vic Fangio, arguably the best defensive coordinator in all of the game. The battle was just won, honestly, in that last quarter. Is the first three battles, obviously the Eagles controlled that, but the war was won by Denver. And that's really just all this game came down to, was just being persistent and patient. And even though I didn't have a lot of faith for Denver going into that fourth quarter, it's not like it was over, especially when they scored that first touchdown, because the defense had been playing lights out and they gave the offense a chance just to get going. And I said it in my preview heading into the week, is that the Broncos offense, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to be better than Philly's, and it certainly was. And the defense took care of the rest. I mean, Nick Benito had, 3.5 sacks? He's on pace right now to have the most sacks in NFL history. Now, obviously, there's an extra game, a 17th one, which helps. Benito last season at 13.5, he was third in the NFL, and he's just gotten even better. A lot of these guys get paid for Denver, and they seem to be at their best, which it kind of makes sense because they're protected long term, and they got nothing to lose really to that point. So that's been awesome to see. But 21-17, the Broncos are now 3-2. Of course, they are tied for the Chargers for first place in the division. If the Chiefs do win tonight, then they will also be tied. Denver, though, did lose to the Chargers, so they have the tiebreaker. So getting that second game is going to be absolutely critical. Almost feels like a must-win, especially given because it's in Denver. I mean, the Broncos should be absolutely 4-0. Prior to the Eagles game, this team hadn't even trailed in the fourth quarter. There were triple zeros on the clock, of course, against the Chargers and the Colts, thanks to game-winning field goal kicks. They left a lot on the table. But this game honestly makes it worth it, right? I mean, you never want to lose games you should win, but being the Eagles on the road and a team that have won 20-21, it just, you have to start to put respect on this team's name. And you never know who a team is until the fifth week of the season. That's what they say. That's what Tom Brady said. This is who the Broncos are, is they're going to be in every game defensively. And if Bo Nix can just shine when the fourth quarter comes and make those winning plays, this team is going to be able to beat anyone. And if you can beat the Eagles, you literally can beat anyone. They won the Super Bowl last year. Now, offensively, the Eagles aren't the same team they were last year. But again, they were still 4-0 heading into this game, and they beat some pretty good teams, including the Rams. They came back and won that one, and they beat the Bucs, two NFC contenders. Denver, I mean, I've been covering this team for a couple of years now, since they've had Sean Payton, and I can't think of a bigger win than this one. I mean, everyone in that locker room has to be feeling at an all-time high, and it's only going to get more difficult. That's the thing, is you beat the Eagles, cool, but there's still a lot of good teams coming up, and the Broncos all of a sudden with, I'd imagine the Chiefs are going to win tonight. I mean, I'm not sleeping on the Jags or anything, but it's probably going to be a three-way tie for first place, which means that it's wide open, and the Chargers seem to be heading downhill. The Chiefs are kind of like coming uphill, even though nobody really counted out the Chiefs, even though they started off 0-2. But Denver's right there, man. They've got the best defense in this division. They've got a really good play caller. They got an elite offensive line. They got two dynamic running backs. It's just going to come down to Bo Nix. Bo Nix can just make those plays like he did in the fourth quarter. The Broncos are going to absolutely make a run at the Super Bowl. I'm out, guys. Peace.